Warning, this program is entirely fictional and made by a sole Canadian man. All characters and events in the show, including the host, even those that are based on real people, are entirely fictional. The following program contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised.
America. The land of opportunity. Fueled by immigration and innovation, with just a touch of authoritarian despotism. Here in these glorious United States, there exists a vast criminal underworld stretching from sea to shining sea, and if you look closely at our utopian American settlements, you may just find the stain of criminal activity in more places than you ever thought possible. Tonight, on Grand Theft Auto Geographies. Parties, mobsters, and massacres. Tonight we will take a look at a very small district of Liberty City with a very big secret, and the history of bloodshed which many to this day remain ignorant of. We will see sleazy wise guys, illicit substances, and bitter rivalries unfold as we examine every nook and cranny of this seemingly innocuous district of a city with no shortage of violent criminal stories. A neighborhood so overlooked that many forget it isn't part of a neighboring district in every direction, but whose own distinctive history fits perfectly in the grim gallery of America's bloodied and shady past, Atlantic Quays. Atlantic Quays is small, the second smallest district technically speaking after the nearby Callahan Bridge district, which many consider an informal designation to begin with, effectively making the Quays the true smallest neighborhood in Portland and possibly all of Liberty City. The area is characterized by several small docks, mostly for smaller vessels, and serves an almost identical purpose to the neighboring Portland Harbor district, but on a much smaller scale. The only other notable features of this district are several warehouses, which we will cover in just a moment, and the single U-shaped road that all the businesses in the area connect to, which loops down from Trenton on the district's eastern and western edges. The Quays borders part of Trenton and Portland Harbor to the north, and Callahan Point to the west. As we've alluded to, Atlantic Quays has seen a disproportionately large amount of violence over the years for its small size, and while we can't say for certain just how far back the area's violent history extends, the worst of it appears to have occurred around the late 1990s and early 2000s, and almost exclusively revolved around mafia activity in Portland from several different families. In 1998, the area would be a territory of the Leone crime family, and future capo regime Tony Cipriani would serve briefly under Leone associate Vincenzo Chile, who ran the neighborhood for the Leones at least between 1994 and 1998. When tensions between Chile and Tony reached a boiling point, Vincenzo would use a ship docked at one of the district's docks to try and lure Tony into a trap where he is ambushed by dozens of men loyal to Vinny, wielding chainsaws. Tony would manage to kill all of the attackers though, and soon after kill Vincenzo as well. But the legacy of the event would live on and become known locally as the Portland Chainsaw Massacre, though due to the mafia's involvement and a lack of police reporting, many remain skeptical as to the truth of the accepted narrative, if it even happened to begin with. Whether or not the massacre was real, it would inspire a brutal and highly illegal underground fighting tournament called Slash TV aboard the same vessel, and while the phenomenon was reportedly discontinued as early as the following year, it remains a conversation piece for many of Portland's older residents who still recall the rumors. In 2000, a Banshee sports car was stolen from the area, which is only noteworthy for the person who stole it, presumed Leone associate Mike, who would go on to cause chaos for the city throughout the year, before fleeing by plane to Colombia later on. In 2001, the area would once again be adjacent to violence, at least according to some, when the notorious and deadly Reaper man known as Claude dumped a body for serial killer Marty Chonks at the docks, though this could not be confirmed with 100% certainty. What is confirmed, though, is that also in 2001, the area was host to several bombastic parties hosted at Warehouse Rave, and a subsequent LCPD bust, as well as the murder of several Farrelly family soldiers who are presumed to have owned the last unknown warehouse in the area, when the Reaper man Claude, working for El Burro of the Diablos, lured several men to their death with the jingly-jangly of a Mr. Whoopi's ice cream van loaded with explosives. The businesses in Atlantic Quays are few and far between, to say the least. In the district's history, it has never had more than 5 warehouses, which have served several purposes over the years, mostly as fronts for the city's various mafia families, likely running drugs from the district's docks. The area was home to Vincenzo Chile's operation in 1998, as well as briefly hosting the illegal Slash TV games, and by 2001 was presumably controlled in part by the Farrelly brothers, on top of containing the aforementioned Warehouse Rave and a last unknown warehouse. Alright guys, so once again dropping character, Atlantic Quays is, according to the GTA Wiki and my own research, based very loosely on the Dumbo area of New York, or down under Manhattan Bridge overpass, But unlike the HD version of Liberty City's equivalent neighborhood, Boabo, it doesn't actually feature the overpass of a bridge looming over the area. For these reasons, parts of the neighboring Callahan Point end up being closer to the aesthetics of the real-world Dumbo, but the inspiration is still clearly visible in the docks and smaller warehouses lining the district's edge. Given this, there isn't a whole lot to say about Atlantic Quays when comparing it to Dumbo, as the area is far too small and far too underdeveloped to offer much in the way of direct comparison. Atlantic Quays is certainly an example of an early neighborhood in Rockstar's then new 3D worlds getting the short end of the stick. And that concludes the shortest episode of GTA Geographies to date, but don't you fret, GTAG fans, we have a lot more to cover on this series and many more sinister plots to unravel. I'll see you next time on GTA Geographies, and don't forget to tune into GTA Biographies, Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern. I'm your host, Guinness Walker. Thank you for watching.